So it's been a couple of years since I last repotted this Trident maple, and 7 or 8 months since I repotted these two Japanese maples here. So what I'm going to be doing today is doing quite a severe root pruning on this one. I'm repotting it just to try and get the Nabari working a bit better, and just going to be pruning these ones back a bit. So it is near the end of winter, and being in Queensland it is getting quite warm already, so a lot of my plants, especially some of my other Trident maples, are starting to come into bud. So it's a good time for me to be doing a bit of work with the roots for this one. Now if you haven't been to my channel before, it's you and Ellery here, Maple Bonsai in Australia, and I am quite new to bonsai. I've been doing it for a few years now, so this is really a channel where I post a lot of content essentially to journal what I'm doing, and hopefully you can learn something from it along the way as well. So if you're into that kind of content, please hit the like button and subscribe so that you're notified with future videos as I release it. So first up, what I'm going to do is put this one to the side and start to work on a couple of these. So with this one, you can see there on the side that there's a bit of wire scar from 6 months or so ago, I suppose. So yeah, this branch at the back here had grown a lot more vigorously than I was expecting, and I'd kind of wired around and up the trunk onto this branch. So hopefully heal fairly well with time. But for now, I'm just going to have to try and conceal it as much as I can. So yeah, the branch at the back here, which is coming around, it's actually at quite a good position on the trunk. So I'm going to actually leave that branch, but I'm just going to be pruning it back slightly. So just got to decide which of these two I want to keep. And this one, kind of, the front of the tree is either going to be the way you're viewing it there, or on that side most likely. So this one here kind of keeps coming a lot further towards the back, whereas this one kind of comes out on the side. So I'll remove the branch that's further back, and with this one here I will just prune it a little bit above that node there, just so that I can get a bit more back budding here and develop some branch pads off this with time. Now there are a couple little shoots off the back of this branch, so I might leave that one just to see how that develops with time. We'll get a bit more thickness at the bottom here, which will hopefully work a bit better to conceal that cut. This one's just moving inside, so I'll get rid of that. And then I've got two different branches that are shooting out this branch on the opposite side. They're both pretty much the same location. I don't want both of them, so I'll remove one. It's just a matter of deciding which. And this one at the back here, it's a little bit thicker, and it's also a lot longer with no movement, whereas there's a bit of nice movement in this smaller one here. So I'm just going to prune this one back. Now you can see at the base of the tree there that there's some not the best Nabari, so there's a couple of roots here. It's a bit dark, so I'm not sure how well you can see it, but a couple of roots that kind of stick up a fair bit. Now I'll probably want to get rid of these with time, but I'll leave them on for now because I can't recall where the best kind of root structure is, so I'll leave those until I repot it. Now these two are kind of coming out from exactly the same part in the trunk, so I'll get rid of one of them just so I don't get inverse taper forming. Preferably I'd have kind of one trunk on this side, one branch on this side, then one branch on this, and stagger it around those. So I might get rid of both of these just so it goes, branch here, another branch there, and then I'll use this as the next branch. So just prune that, just get rid of that one, and then I'll use this as the next branch on the side. So yeah, nice and staggered up the trunk here until the leader at the top. And I could actually prune this one back a bit. I could prune it back further just to get a little bit better taper. It make too much difference over time, so I'll prune it back to there for now, just to get another branch going and just a slight little bit better taper in the future. So that'll be that for now. So I'll put this one aside and work on the next. So this is one that I got in a little tiny little tub from Bunnings a couple of years ago, and it was, the trunk would have been about yay thick. Problem with this one here is that I've got where the first branches come from the trunk, they're all coming out. There's actually 4 coming out from the exact location there, so I want to be getting rid of a lot of these just so I don't get inverse taper. I let these ones grow really strong and they'll look a bit strange in proportion to the trunk, so I'm just going to leave really small shoots as branches for this one for now. Get rid of that one, and depending on where I have the front of the tree, yeah, that could very well be the front. So yeah, anyway, but I'll have a bunch of small shoots to be able to work with. Then it's just a matter of pruning back that apex. These smaller branches I'll just prune back to where I've got some buds. Now it's also here a matter of, yeah, which of these, what do I use as the apex? Now I could use what I've got right now, which comes all the way up to here. Nice little bits of movement, but it's still quite a thin trunk, so I'll probably try and keep as much of the thickness down as low as I can, really. So I might actually prune that back to there, just to now develop that as the apex. So yeah, I'm really pruning that one down to effectively a stump. But that'll then grow and I'll have a lot more branches and it will be a lot more taper in the trunk than if I just kind of let it grow from where it was. Just so it's easier to work with without all of this. There's quite a lot of branches. Now with this one again, we can see here there's 2 branches that are coming out from exactly the same spot. I don't want all of these, so I'm going to prune this one back because this one's a lot thinner. And there's also this one that I can use as a branch just above where that other one was. So I'll prune this one back as well. I'll get rid of the larger part of this branch. And I've got this weird little bit that's just sticking straight up. Get rid of that. And I'm just going to apply a bit of wire. Obviously I don't want to end up with wire scarring as I did in the last one, but I just want to position this into place. So I'm just going to have to keep an eye on this as it grows, just to make sure that this wire doesn't bite in too hard. So yeah, I'm gonna have to be sure to take this off realistically within a few weeks, depending on how vigorous the tree's growing. So yeah, move those around into slightly better position. Now up above here, a fair bit I could try to work with at the moment. There's a nice branch coming off there at least, so I'll probably keep that one. I will just prune it back though. And then I need to figure out which of these I want to use as the apex. So there's some nice movement in this, the way it's kind of moving around, so hopefully get a lot more thickness in it with time. But I'll get rid of this big thick apex from the top, and then it's really just going to be deciding which of these small little things I want to use as the leader. So I might just get rid of that part entirely. So now hopefully that'll shoot up as a new leader, and then another branch there on the side. So now that I've pruned this back, I'm just going to repot it. So the last time I pruned this, it was just a small little ball of roots, probably half the size of my fist. So it's good to see that it's really just taken off and there's a lot of dense roots. I remember pruning it back to a little bit of a root plane, so just going to actually cut off a lot of this just to save myself a bit of time and effort. So I'm just going to rinse out this root ball now. Yeah, quite a few roots here. So up here is where the trunk, the base of the trunk is, but there's not really a lot of roots coming out there. So what I might do is grow it as kind of exposed roots and then try and have the nabari kind of flare out. Alternatively, I could really try and lift it up a lot higher, but what I'll probably do is I'll lift it up slightly higher, but then yeah, have still part of it as exposed roots, but just to add a little bit of interest before flaring out the nabari. So still going to be a drastic pruning. So I'm just going to go around. Thankfully I've got a bunch of good new kind of feeder roots coming off some of this thick root structure. So I'll prune a lot of these back to about where that occurs. Big one that's coming down, I'm going to have to prune that one back a lot higher just to encourage new roots coming out where I want to form the root plane. This one around here, the feeder roots are just coming off here, so keep those. This one at the bottom kind of comes out and hooks in, so cut that where it turns. That's about it there. So put this back in its pot. And again, just putting it back in a training pot just so it can recover, get a lot more vigor, and start to grow a lot more thickness in the nabari before I put it into a bonsai pot. Now we'll see how all of this kind of develops as it grows throughout the year, but yeah, hopefully in another year or two that root flare will become quite established, and then I'll be able to put it into a good bonsai pot. So look, I hope you enjoyed this video or took something from it. If you have, then please hit that like button and subscribe to my channel so that you're notified with my future videos as I release them. But look, thanks for your time today. Enjoy. Bye.